In honor of the 250th birthday of the United States, Forbes is highlighting people who have truly embodied what it means to live the American dream. The new Forbes list ranking the 250 greatest living self-made Americans is out now. And it features big names like Oprah Winfrey and Dolly Parton, who have overcome meager beginnings to become the success stories we know today. Joining us now, Chief Content Officer and Editor of Forbes, Randall Lane, along with the man who is number 40 on this Forbes list. Congratulations. Founder and CEO of the Leon Capital Group, Fernando de Leon. Randall, let me start with you and tell us a little bit more about this list and what you were looking for and why you feel this embodies the American spirit on this anniversary year.
It's funny because we have this year, and you guys, we've been seeing it all morning, the country feels a little sideways. It's a good reminder that this country is still, an exceptional country for what it stands for its ideas, with the American dream being at the core. And the idea of a self-made American, the idea that you can come from literally nothing to become anything you want in this country, we think is really, really vital to this project. And this is my favorite list of the 6 we're doing this year, because it goes to the heart of what the American dream is about and trying to unify us and reminding us that, again, anybody can be a success in this country if they work hard enough. And we have 250 examples, including one here with us right now.
Fernando, congratulations. You have quite a personal story, is my understanding. You were born in Mexico, crossed the border, and studied in Brownsville. You lost your father at a young age. Tell us a little bit about your story to success in making this list, and also, reflect on us about the state of the American dream today.
Yeah, well, look, my story is not very different from the story of many immigrants that have come to this country. When you come here, you see only one thing, and that's opportunity. And so I am a big believer that the American dream is alive and well, and that it's available to many Americans, to all Americans of any race or ethnicity or any place that they grow up in this country. So I'm a big believer in it. It's the thing I believe the strongest in, and it's sort of my religion. I do believe that as Americans come to this country, or they grow up in adverse consequences, I think that they can achieve whatever they want. And so I don't believe in limitations except for the things that are in people's minds.
I think Fernando's also being modest in that he's sitting there. He grew up in Mexico, but he was an American citizen and walks across the border every day. I'm sorry to brag on you, Fernando, to Brownsville to get an education. And now also, and when we talk about success, he won't say it, but he's on the Forbes billionaires list at about $3 billion. So that quantifies. If you want to know what the American dream really is alive, we're not talking, just kind of adjectives here. It's real.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And Fernando's story, as he just articulated, part of it is certainly part of what this country is still all about in many, many cases. But there are a couple of people on this list, the list is vast, but the couple of people that I just noticed, that you see their names and it brings a smile to your face and a good feeling in your heart about the country. And it's based upon the roots, about where their stories began. And I'm talking about Dolly Parton and Viola Davis.
Right. And those stories are well known. But again, you see, we have so many people who came, again, from broken homes, from, orphans and, parentless, and they had to do it themselves. And it reminds us that none of us, there's no barrier we can't overcome. If you look at, again, Dolly Parton's story, Viola, they're both incredible stories in that you look at, or Oprah Winfrey, number one, who's somebody who was, from a broken home and suffered from abuse. And of course, those stories have all been well told. But it's a reminder when you look at this, like, wow, look how it's not a few. They're exceptional, and they're somewhat exceptions. But there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of stories like this, and these 250 represent that vast segment of America that says, you know what, I did not, be born. I was not born on third base. I was born, in the dugout, but I made it all the way. It's doable, and these are 200 inspiration stories.
The baseball references really help Barnacle Field.
I just want to bring Mike into the conversation.
I was going to say in the locker room, not even in the dugout.
Maybe outside the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, figure out a way in.
We have more billionaires than ever before.
We do.
to the extent you could,
3,428 in the world.
and you guys are sort of the gold standard for that. To the extent you can measure it, we have more billionaire criticism and antipathy, not because I think people oppose wealth. America celebrates success to a great extent. But this sense out there that things are unfair and tilted.
Yep.
And yet when we look, I mean, right behind you, I'm looking, self-made is the focus here. Talk a little bit about, and you've mentioned some people, why that's your focus on people who've built something rather than, say, inherited and invested something. Because you've got a lot of folks here who actually, in whatever environment, show you can still do it.
We started a few years ago with that in mind, ranking, because on the Forbes 400, 2/3 of the members of the Forbes 400 are self-made. They're not inherited. This country still is the most dynamic economy in terms of creating success and wealth for people. That's all facts. And so we started, but cognizant of that, a couple of years ago, we started rating every billionaire on a self-made score. And for this list, we only took the 9s and the 10s. And the 9s and 10s, especially the 10s, and a lot of 10s on this list, including Fernando, you had to come all the way. Yeah. You had to be somebody who people would be shocked if you even made it past high school. And all of a sudden, again, $1 billion fortune. And again, $1 billion as a proxy for just saying the influence you've had, the jobs you've created, the success you've had. So when you look at, because America doesn't resent being rich or being successful. They resent if they don't have a chance to be rich or successful. This list is the embodiment that anybody, it doesn't mean we don't need to do better. We need to do better in terms of upward mobility. It's a core issue for this country. But this is a list that reminds us that anybody can do it.
Fernando, the last word goes to you. What would you say to your former self, that little boy that was crossing the border, or another little boy or girl who is crossing the border at some point today with nothing? What would your message to them be?
Well, I think Randall's right. This is a country where opportunity prevails and it's available to all of us. And I think it's about that resilience and the ability to move forward. If you look at the stories of these 250 Americans, what they have in common is that they persevered. And part of that early adversity that they had in their life was part of their success. And so the stories they tell, the businesses they build, the songs that they sing, the things that they do, they all come from that pain or that adversity that they struggled with. And so as every American goes through their own set of life circumstances, you can persevere. And I think this country is extraordinary in that regard, in allowing people to pursue the American dream.
Okay. The Forbes 250 Greatest Living Self-Made Americans list is available now. Randall Lane and Fernando de Leon, thank you both very much for doing the list and for joining us this morning.